campaign rally for the Reverend Jesse Jackson, a Democratic candidate for president. The rally is being staged at the Islamic Center of Southern California in Los Angeles. The rally has already begun. We join the event in progress.
Iran. All right. He's a man for all the people. Am I right about it? All right. I mean, never could you see such a rainbow of people at a Reagan situation. I mean, who's going to come out for him? You know, besides some people who watch John Wayne movies. Come on. All right, we're tired of Westerns. You know, besides some people who watch John Wayne movies. Come on. All right, we're tired of Westerns. Oh, we want the real thing. We want Jesse Jackson. We're tired of the false prophets. We want the real men. So let's hear it again for Jesse Jackson. And what are you going to do Tuesday? All right. I'm going to tell a friend. You know, I wanted to see a competition between the women and the men out here because it seems like the women are stronger. I don't know. I don't know. I want to hear it again. Can I just hear the women say Jesse 3 times? Just the women. Let's hear it again, women. All right, now. You know, we're going to try it one more time. All the women. All right, now I hear you. Oh, that little girl jumped up. All right, now the men. Oh, men got scared. Come on, man, don't let the women intimidate you like that now. All right, men. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's great. Thank you, Kasem. All right, now together. 1, 2, 3. All right. I love it. Now, Jesse, like I said, is on his way here. We're obviously stalling for a little time. I wish we had someone who could sing and do like, you know, Over the Rainbow or something like that. I saw one of my friends who is a really good singer, but I know he won't sing a cappella. Oh yeah, I know Wally Ali's out there somewhere. Is he out there? Wally Ali? Where is he? Stand up, brother. I know you're there. Wally Ali. Where is he? Ah, there he is, my brother. How you doing? Great singer. Great singer. The brother's not afraid of anything. The brother's singing in front of millions. He's not afraid. He'll sing a cappella if necessary.
He's about to be here, we keep going.
Okay. But he won't sing today. Because Jesse's too close. But we love you, brother. We love you. We love you. Do we have any other entertainers out there that we haven't introduced? Any other people?
We can answer a couple more questions.
Okay, Dr. Nazir?
Some
Such a case he do about
some of the questions that we received.
Okay. Dr. Nazir Ahmed is going to answer some of the questions that he has received about MPAC.
Sabri Go ahead. Okay.
He thinks that most of the questions that he has may have been answered earlier, and so rather than go into it right now, he'd rather hold off. It's momentary before.
I can do Scooby-Doo if you want. You want me to do Scooby-Doo? Okay, how many of you watch Scooby-Doo? You know Scooby-Doo? Okay. I played the character Shaggy for 17 years. You know who Shaggy? We're the kids. All right, you want me to do Shaggy for you? Okay. Shaggy would say, Scoobo, buddy, old friend, old pal, where are you? You should be right here with Jesse Jackson at the Islamic Center where we're having a great time. We're going to vote for the next president of the United States. By the way, they're going to renew that show. That show, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You, is the most successful television show of its kind in history. It's been on for 16 and a half years on the network, and then even more, another couple of years after that in syndication. And now we're going to do another batch of them, so we'll be going into year number 17 or 18 for that particular cartoon show by Hanna-Barbera, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?
I was really very, very lucky early in my life to know Jesse. I don't know how many of you know this, but
at Sammy Davis Jr.'s home in Beverly Hills about 8 years ago. And I was so impressed because to see Jesse up close and to hear him speak to you and look at you, you begin to communicate on a higher plane. I mean, he's on the mountain and you're right up there with him. That's the difference between his communication and the other people who are running for president. I was at the Operation Push meeting, and it was a fundraiser, and I saw him speak, and I was mesmerized, as were 100 other people. 6 months later, after I had met my wife, who is currently my wife, I said I proposed, and she said she'd love to get married. And I said, the man that I would like to marry is somebody who I think is the most important human being in America. He's Jesse Jackson. What do you think? She says, let's do it. So we spoke to Jesse from Chicago for about an hour and a half because he wanted to make sure it wasn't one of those Hollywood marriages that lasts 2 weeks and then get a divorce. So he agreed, and we talked about our personal backgrounds and where my wife was from, grew up in Guam, lived there for 13 years, and my background being a Druze American and Lebanese American. And he came out, he married us at the Bel Air Hotel in one of the most beautiful ceremonies ever. And my wife and I are still married, love each other very much. And so Jesse got what he thought he was going to get, and that was a marriage that lasted. But more importantly than that, she reminded me that the night before we got married, we talked for about 3.5 hours with Jesse, the three of us. And I began then to realize that the man was more than just the greatest spiritual leader in America, but he was also very, very concerned about the third world and understood what was happening in the Middle East and understood what was happening in Ireland, in Southeast Asia, in Korea, in Central and South America, and what was happening in South Africa. And I realized, here's a man who should be leading our country. And my wife reminds me that's exactly what I said to him. Jesse, I think you're more qualified to be president than anybody in America today. Then a few years later, thank you. A few years later, we all got behind him, and that was in '84, and we've seen what's happened. 2.5 to 3 million people voted for him 4 years ago. It's about 7 million so far today. More than double the number of people who believe in what Jesse has to say. Jesse, as Jim Zogby has said, has made us winners. For the first time, many disenfranchised people who have never had an opportunity to go to the polls and know that their vote would count, or to go to the polls and know that even if they voted for the man they thought was the right man, he was really a lesser of two evils. That no longer exists. We have the opportunity to vote for somebody who believes the way we believe for the first time in those who knows how long and how many years. The press has been following Jesse from state to state and from town to town and places that other candidates have failed to go. And the press, more and more every day, is beginning to realize that the things that Jesse has said and is saying has given us that language that makes him head and shoulders above all the other candidates. And you hear it because they talk among one another. And they're very proud to be on the campaign with him and stumping with him. And some even go back to '84 and are part of that campaign. He's made believers out of a lot of them, not only the cameramen and the sound men, but also some of the people who reported. It's very interesting. Right now, if you look at the polls, you'll discover that Jesse has gone up about 14 points in the past few weeks. So that momentum is really going. The night before the caucus in the state of Michigan, Gene and I were driving back in a car with a reporter from one of the most important newspapers in the country. All the polls had reported that Jessie was neck and neck with Dukakis, and it looked like either one of them could win in Michigan, although it tended to lean a little bit toward Jessie. Well, as we all know, the next day, he blew him away. But the reporter in the car from this very important newspaper said, tomorrow it'll be a landslide for Jesse Jackson, and he seemed to be the only one who was saying that. There were a few other pundits who said the same thing, but he was really an important reporter, and I'll never forget what he said. Which leads me to believe you can't always depend on the polls. Don't believe what the polls say the night before, because it doesn't mean anything. Believe what you have in your heart, in your mind, and your soul, and your conscience. And when you go to that voting booth, make sure you take about 10 people with you as you spend the next couple of days to call your personal friends, and not necessarily to convince them that Jesse is the man. There are enough people convinced that he's the man. We've got to convince them that nothing should stand in the way of their going to the polls on Tuesday. Nothing should stand in the way. Because this is the most important election for those of us who are here today that we may ever have had. It's the most important election I've ever been in. And so I know you feel the same way. We just have to remind those others who may not be here today and who may not be as fervent as you are about Jesse Jackson, that they too can make that difference come Tuesday. I think, is Jesse here he is here, so I tell you what, maybe we can just take it easy for a moment, give your ears a rest, and then we'll have Jesse out here momentarily.
Thank you very much, Jesse. It's getting a little bit cold, but I am sure that the talk of Jesse Jackson will be quite warming. We really thank all the speakers, and we thank the media. It has been long overdue to get the media so concerned and so attentive to Muslim gatherings. And we hope that this will be a trend to continue and to keep growing. It's also very encouraging that all of you came on such a short notice. That shows that we are much more organized than what we used to be. In case you are very curious, we can't control the delay because it is controlled by the security.
Acknowledge John Chancellor from the NBC.
I am very happy to welcome also Mr. John Chancellor of NBC. I'm sure this is such an even-handed, well-balanced, honest, objective media man. We are very happy to have him in our center.
So we can get him to safety list. Why not? Schedule now. Oh, okay. Which will
I want to see you after work.
let me say something like this.
I just asked John Chancellor if he'd say a few words. However, he says, Casey, I'm working tonight. So I think for him to be here, I mean, you're talking about one of the top newsmen in the history of this country. Let's give him a standing ovation. Let's give him an ovation. All right? For him to come here, he must think it's pretty important. John, thank you for being with us. John Chancellor. A living legend in the news business, ladies and gentlemen. A legend.
As a matter of fact, if Mr. John Chancellor is not willing to speak here, we are expecting to hear him on NBC. Those are the two words that we really want to hear and all the nation to hear about his impression about Islam and the Muslims when he came here.
He's in the building. Now, are we going to fill those seats? They said this one. Yep. I think, can I make a suggestion? Yeah. Can I make a suggestion so we don't have empty seats here? Ask those people who are behind here, okay, so they won't be able to see to come around and fill these seats. Sure. Just ask the ones behind you to come up and fill those seats.
The brothers and sisters who are standing there, those seats are available now. The security is allowing us to use these seats, so move and fill them. Don't move the seats, just sit on them.
That's a good idea.
We are as eager as you are to go ahead with the program, because as you know, we'll call for the prayer at the time of sunset, which will be about 10 minutes after 8. Marianne.
Here. I'll take it. 2, 3.
Muslim Political Action Committee has the pleasure to receive Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Jackson, action! Jackson, action! Jackson, action! 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 Action!
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. In the name of God, the most compassionate, most merciful, we can all feel that history is holding its breath to record this evening. It is not just a political rally for a political campaign. It is not just an expression of support to a candidate. It goes way beyond that. It shows that we, the people, are getting together to be expressed in reality for the first time, to shake the very thick and established status quo, to give the opportunity to America to relieve and reveal its real conscience, to have a chance to say what we were not able to say, and to express what we were not able to express. We have an opportunity to say we are proud of being Americans. We are finding America that has been hijacked, America that has been seen by Martin Luther King when he topped the mountain and saw the promised land. America of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, America of peace with justice, and America of freedom. Not America that they wanted to hijack and make it an America of the coalition between big industry and big military and special interest groups. Not America that speaks with double mouth. Not America that tilts everything aside to support the rights of the few on the expense of the majority. We have an opportunity through Jesse Jackson to say through him that it is about time for America to be what it was meant to be, not what they wanted it to be. We will tell him, keep hammering it in their brains, Jesse, that it is impossible to be moral at home and immoral abroad. Keep telling them that if you speak about human rights in Moscow, speak about human rights in Palestine and in Mozambique. Tell them, stop sheltering the big corporations and look at the hungry and the poor and the homeless. Keep telling them that we want to wipe out hypocrisy. Human rights are for all humans. That you came here today and the rainbow came here today. Muslims, Christians, and Jews to say we want honesty and we want truth. Keep telling them that there are Americans from all colors, all racial backgrounds, all ethnicities, all ways towards God, that are not going to tolerate the deception anymore. Tell them that we, the people of America, want to be expressed, even if it is against the will of the lobbies and the will of the benefactors' minorities. Jesse Jackson, keep going. We will go with you. We have a firm belief that God created the world in a way that the truth must prevail, and the Quran says it, وَاللَّهُ غَالِبٌ عَلَى أَمْرِهِ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ وَالسَّلَامُ عَلَيْكُمْ وَرَحْمَةُ اللَّهِ.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Farra, and I am here to ask you, take about 2 minutes, to ask you to help in every way possible in this campaign. Jesse Jackson is more than a candidate for president. Jesse Jackson is the conscience of America. Jesse Jackson stands for all of you. Jesse Jackson is your voice in the entire United States of America, not just in the White House. We have been waiting for a voice like Jesse Jackson's. We've had functionaries in the White House. We've had people that gave us lip service, but not much in the way of action. We need Jesse Jackson forever, not just in this campaign. We need to support Jesse Jackson every time and every day and beyond June 7th and beyond November and beyond January. I ask you, every one of you, to help until it hurts. And I mean every penny you can give, because it might be the last time you can really vote for somebody like Jesse Jackson. So, we've always said we want a chance. This is your chance, my friends. Speak now or forever keep your silence. Jesse Jackson is a dear friend to all of us, to the community. It's a relationship of many years, and it's a relationship that we hope will continue. As you know, he visited us here several times at this center. This friendship shall continue, and we shall always cherish this gentle man. It is with great pleasure that I introduce to you the next President of the United States, Jesse Jackson.
Thank you. much. Let me express, Dr. Sabri, to Kasem, my friend and brother Bob Farra, who just arrived. Give Bob a hand, won't you please? Let me tell you tonight how delighted I am to have this opportunity to share with you on this occasion, so close to the California primary, to let you know that we're winning every day. We're keeping hope alive. We're going to keep America strong and make America better. We can win California on Tuesday. The people with whom I have stood stand with me. We can win California. We can win New Jersey. We can win Montana, New Mexico on Tuesday. I want to talk a few moments about the challenge, politics of principle, rather than the politics as usual. The politics of principle. If politics are principle, they're right. If they're right, they're good politics. We must choose the politics of principle because they have enduring value. And this is a year of great agony when we reflect and great hope as we stand here. On tomorrow, not very far from here, 20 years ago, June 5th, Robert Kennedy was killed. I remember so well coming from jail one day in North Carolina after a sit-in demonstration and heard the voice of Robert Kennedy on the radio. He said that segregation in Alabama is illegal. But he went a step further. He said it's morally wrong. I never heard a politician in my life up to that point go beyond the law, beyond legislation, beyond regulation, beyond what one would expect of an attorney general, and said, well, it's wrong, it's illegal, but it's also morally wrong. The politics of principle. April 4th, 1968, 20 years ago, Dr. King had said over and over again, better that we walk in dignity than ride in shame. He said, choose the politics of prophecy over the politics of expediency. If it's expedient, it may win, but it does not deserve to win. If it's right, it will eventually be political. It may be political and never be right. The politics of principles. If there is any hope in the world tonight, it is simply this, that the arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Past colonialism, past occupation, past fiefdoms, past kingdoms, past powers of this world, the arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice. I remember reading over a period of years about Thomas Jefferson. And my sense of Thomas Jefferson has had highs and lows. The highs, when I was quite young, the teacher would tell us how brilliant Thomas Jefferson was. What an architect, what a builder, what a leader. I was always impressed. And then I grew old and began to do independent reading. And President Thomas Jefferson had concubines, women with whom he had sex and had babies and would not give those babies his name. My estimate of him dropped very low. But then I read later, but Jefferson said, you know, when I look at slavery on the one hand, here's a man who had profited from the institution in a worldly or material sense. He said, when I look at slavery on the one hand, and I think that God is just on the other, I shudder for my country. It was that sense of conscience, that moral outburst that put principle above pleasure, that made me respect Thomas Jefferson as a man fundamentally a principle, because he said slavery has been good to me, been good for me, but it's morally wrong. Therefore, when I think about slavery on the one hand and the just God on the other, I shudder for my country. Every man and woman of principle must have that sense of shudder, that sense of concern, that sense of humility for the politics of principle. Human rights, the key to peace. In human rights, the cause of war. And so often people wrestle in their souls with what's right on paper and what's right in real life. The same men said that all men are created equal, also left out women. All men are created equal, declared blacks to be 3/5 human because they chose property over principles. We have this war within our souls. Mr. Reagan, this week in Russia, seized the great topic, human rights. He grabbed a book with a beautiful cover, human rights. But he must open that book and read it, understand it, and then apply it all around the world. Human rights is the right subject. Not talking to Mr. Gorbachev, I raised the question of human rights. I raised the question about the plight of Soviet Jews. I raised the question about the plight of Armenians. I raised the issue with him of human rights. As I talked with him about stop testing missiles, stop deploying them because that's right. But I also knew deep down that the absence of missiles was not the presence of human rights. And so when he talked with Gorbachev about human rights, it was the right subject. But that subject must be understood and applied all over the world. Speak about human rights in Russia, but then don't insult the American Indians the next day. Measure human rights by one yardstick and be for human rights everywhere. And measure terrorism by one yardstick and be against terrorism everywhere. Preach human rights in the Soviet Union. Preach human rights in Latin America. Preach human rights in the Middle East. Preach human rights in Angola, in Namibia, in Mozambique, in South Africa. Preach human rights all around the world. I not only believe in human rights, I argue the case of human rights everywhere, all the time, all around the world. I believe in Israeli security and Israel's right to exist within secure borders. I believe in Palestinian justice and a homeland and secure borders. I believe in mutual recognition for mutual security and land for peace. I believe in freedom from fear and freedom from occupation. I believe in freedom for everybody all around the world. The American president cannot just hope for peace in the Middle East. We must lead that drive. We must do for Israelis and Palestinians what neither can do for the other. There's been so much killing, so much hurt, so much pain. Neither has the power internally to free the other. They cannot break the cycle of violence and hurt. Each killing begets the next killing. Each justifies the other, bound in blood and religion. We must do a greater thing than choose sides. We must choose peace and bring the sides together. Israelis and Palestinians are trapped in a death grip. Neither can turn the other loose. What must we do? Offer more weapons that cannot be used and should not be used? What can we do? Offer more false security? I think not. We must pry them apart and do for both of them what neither can do for the other. Talk with them. Act. And then change things. They talk about Camp David. They say over and over again, if we just had another Arab leader with the will and the courage of Sadat, we could solve the crisis. I think not. Another leader with the courage of Carter. And I talked with Mr. Sadat in 1979 and said, you know, you went to Israel. He said, yes, but I had Sinai in my pocket when I went. I didn't just go. It was mutual security, for mutual recognition. It was land for peace. It was making a big judgment in history. Today we must make a big judgment. We must offer more security to both and threaten neither. We must break that cycle of pain and give peace a choice and a chance. Leadership must have courage and be fair and consistent. Occupation is too great a burden for Israel to bear, too great a burden for Palestinians to stand up under. Occupation serves no interest. It prolongs the agony, extends the hurt and the pain. Occupation politically is too divisive. Economically, it's too costly. Emotionally, it's too draining. Militarily, it's too bloody. It costs too much. There's a way out. We must relieve Israel of the burden of occupation. Relieve the Palestinians of the burden of being occupied. We must stand for peace. It's right. It's good. It's right. It's good. My friends, there's a vision beyond the war. Beyond the war is growth. Beyond the war is security. Beyond the war is economic development. Beyond the war is security for the children. We must lead the Middle East beyond war. That's my commitment. That's why I choose to talk, to act, to function. I don't want politics as usual. If so, there'll be killing as usual. There'll be dying as usual. We must deal in the politics of principles to have the politics of liberation and freedom and justice and development. Peace is possible. Peace is possible. Peace is possible. I look forward to the day, just as when lions and lambs come together, there'll be peace in the valley. One day, Israelis and Palestinians, Arab and Jew will sit around a common table. Somebody has to have the courage, the character, and the care to break down ancient barriers and study war no more. Beat your swords and plowshares and spears and the pruning hooks. Oh, I want your vote for me on Tuesday, but I want more than that. That's not enough. Don't just vote for me and then go back in the same old rut, the same old hole. Offer more than the candidacy. I offer clarity of leadership. I offer principles. Vote for me, yes, but don't stop there. What do I want? I want to lead our nation beyond racism. That's more than a vote. Beyond sexism. Beyond anti-Semitism. Beyond Arab bashing. Beyond anti-Asianism. Beyond escapism. Beyond fear. I want to lead our nation beyond war. I want you to be my partner. I want you to be my partner. Why can I go anywhere in the world and talk with anybody? Because I'm not politics as usual. I can go to Jerusalem. I can go to Israel. I can go to the West Bank. I can go to South Africa. I can go anywhere in the world because I have the courage of my convictions and I'm fair all over the world. Peace in the Middle East. 7 years after Reagan, more Americans dead are held hostage. More Arabs dead, more Israelis dead. More folk in jail, more folk oppressed. There's another way out. We can end that war in the Persian Gulf. Reagan and Gorbachev can use their combined strength. Get Iran and Iraq to a common table. Stop that killing. Peace is possible. I want peace between Iran and Iraq, and it is possible. It is possible. It is possible. The Middle East, we have strong military and weak policy. We need strong leadership. It's not enough to have the golden rule. Somebody must apply that rule. This idea about he who has the gold makes the rule will not work in a civilized world. It must be golden rule. Everybody respect everybody. That's the key to peace. But don't stop there. Don't just focus on South Africa. Focus on Southern Africa. South Africa is not just a state. South Africa is an empire. From South Africa to Angola. Our generation, we can get Cuba out of Angola. But start with getting South Africa out of Angola and Namibia. Get Cuba and South Africa out of Angola. We can have good relations. We must have the will to do so. Don't use Cuba as an excuse to keep South Africa and Zimbabwe in Angola and Namibia. Get South Africa out of Angola. Get South Africa out of Namibia. Build a Berry Corridor, Limpopo Railroad out of Mozambique. Free up Zambia and Zimbabwe so they'll not be bound and have to trade through South Africa. Cut off South Africa's hegemony in that region. When the convention is called in Atlanta, I want South Africa designated by its proper designation. South Africa is a terrorist state. It must no longer escape that definition. It is a terrorist state. South Africa has invaded its neighbors. South Africa is occupying its neighbors. South Africa is exporting revolution. South Africa is killing children. South Africa funds Renamo. Renamo is in Mozambique. They killed 100 to 200,000 people in the last 24 months. They cut open pregnant women's stomachs. They slit their throats. They drowned them. The U.S. State Department says the most heinous crimes since the Holocaust in World War II were South Africa, Renamo, and Mozambique. South Africa is, by every practical definition, a terrorist state, designated as such, and apply the rule of human rights, applied until there are open, free, and fair elections in South Africa. Just apply the law. Don't trade with South Africa, and don't sell arms to folks who sell arms to South Africa. Let's end apartheid. Let's free South Africa. Let's have peace in our world. My friends, there is no doubt in my mind we can have peace in Central America. Don't spend $10 billion chasing 3 million Sandinistas. Spend $10 billion building houses, health clinics, schools. Chase poverty, illiteracy, and disease. There can be peace in the Middle East if we will peace in the Middle East. We can have freedom in South Africa if we will freedom in South Africa. We can end the arms race if we will the human race over the nuclear race and give peace and life and the future a chance. Lastly, my friends, let's change our minds. And that's the hardest challenge, to change our minds. We're so twisted, we think that peace is irrational, naive. War is reasonable, and war makes you tough. War is irrational, absurd, reflects failure of the mental process. Peace is reasonable. Peace is possible. War is absurd. War is vulgar. We must give peace a chance. Peace in Central America is reasonable. Put Norway on the U.S. payroll, paying Norway the same amount of money we pay the American president, that's unreasonable. Exchanging drugs for arms, that's unreasonable. Threatening our neighbors in our own hemisphere, that's unreasonable. Peace is rational. War is absurd. It's time for a change. War is expensive. I just left Watts. I said that 2 nights ago. I looked at those young men and I asked them very basic questions. Young men, you know killing is wrong? They said yes. You know selling drugs is wrong? They said yes. I said, you know, you should stop selling drugs and you should stop dealing in arms. They said yes, but you need to know that we don't grow drugs down here. And we don't make guns down here. And say, by the way, they say on TV, Jesse, that we be buying Saturday night specials. That's not true. We buy AK-47s and we buy Uzas on Long Beach Boulevard without ID cards, just cash money. You want to fight a war on drugs in Los Angeles? Close up the shop to sell automatic weapons to these children. Close up the gun shops. Don't mourn the death of Robert Kennedy on tomorrow and Monday morning open up the gun shop. They say, you know, these drugs, say we don't grow them in Watts. They come to the port. We get them in packages off the boat. And so, my friends, if we're going to stop drugs, stop the children from selling them, but don't stop there. Stop the bankers who launder the money. Stop the gun shop that sell automatic weapons. Stop the government officials who turn their heads. A real war on drugs, cut drugs at the source. Drugs end up in Watts, they start someplace else. Let's fight a comprehensive war on drugs at every level. At every level, fight a war on drugs. My friends, I make this appeal to you today. Let's study war no more. We've tried fear. Let's give courage a chance. We've tried hate. Let's give love a chance. We've turned on each other. That didn't work. Let's turn to each other. Let's give love a chance. Love, power, and justice go hand in hand. Let's give peace a chance. Out of peace will come prosperity and growth and development. I offer you on Tuesday a challenge. Offer you a chance. The politics of principles. The politics of the golden rule. The politics of fairness. The politics of care. Just today, we were in McFarland, California. Children are dying from cancer. Someone said, why go to McFarland, California? There are not many votes there. It's controlled by Republicans. It's 1/3 Hispanic. Only 7% are registered. Many of them don't vote. Why go to McFarland, California? Because people are dying. Because they are oppressed. Because they do not have a voice. It's called the politics of principle, not politics as usual. I stood with you on Tuesday. You stand with me. When I win, you win. We the people can win. I love you very much. Love you very much.
Jesse Jackson, the next president of the United States. Let's hear it.
Keep the people here, all right? Okay.
Join us Sunday afternoon here on C-SPAN for additional coverage of the upcoming primary in California. Our coverage will begin at about 1:25 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 10:25 in the morning for our viewers on the West Coast.